Welcome. Today we're going to be having a discussion on what we learned in our group communication class at Solano Community College. Today with me I have Veronica and Ramiro, and I'm Jairus hosting. So what did you guys learn this semester?
Honestly, the biggest thing that I learned this semester was just to have more patience, especially with working with people, because that's kind of the point of, this group communications class is to learn how to communicate within a group, right?
Yeah.
And I'm always been more of like a soloist where I do everything like my way, just because I know I will be able to do it the way I want it and the correct way, I guess. So with this class, it really helped me learn how to, get other people's opinions. Like, it's not just about my opinion, what I want to do for a project or the work or whatever. Like, I have to also listen to others and then get new ideas.
Yeah, like Veronica said, I think when I was going to school for a long time, I didn't really like group projects because I wanted basically my grade to be based on my work, right? And so if I know that whatever grade I got, it was based on what I did. So I didn't really like the idea of my grade also depending on how you worked or how he worked, or you know what I'm saying? So but when I came into the class, I was like, okay, I'm gonna give this, I'm gonna come in it with an open mind, and I think the biggest thing that I learned was just being open to other people's ideas, and being receptive of it, and not like rejecting that other person's point of view, but maybe listening, and then from that point forward, coming as a group, communicating and coming up with a better idea. Or it's just, I think communication at that point was just kind of like the biggest thing, was just and listening.
And I think personally, with us being in a group, Ramiro, I think we saw usually in these group settings, you have somebody that like takes the lead role, and then you have a bunch of followers. But in our group, we had a bunch of leaders. So I think for me personally, I had to take a step back and listen to more instead of trying to just direct and try to tell people what to do. And I think another thing is you have to realize that people want to be communicated to differently. So like certain things that I would say to you, I would just rephrase it and say to another person in our group. And I think you have to learn about just the nonverbal and all these other different types of communication, like styles, and something like that really was important to like really pick up on this semester.
Yeah, and so we were in a group, and I think, we kind of all, vibed pretty well. And like you said, like we all had that kind of strong personality, and I think we all kind of took a step back and we're like, okay, it was hard for all of us, but we all kind of like, okay, we gotta work as a group so we can get this done. And this is the first time that I'm working with someone that's not them.
Oh, what's up?
So I was just wondering, for you guys, was it like the same? Like, do you guys think you guys kind of all had either a very strong personality, or were you guys kind of like a different type of personality? Like, how did that work out for you guys in your group?
So from what I could tell, I already knew I would be like the more aggressive personality. That's just how I am in like all groups, really. But like I said earlier, like it really made me, I have to take a step back. I need to like calm down a little bit. But I think the biggest thing with our group is that we all kind of learn to respect each other more in a way, just because of like we're taking this class and we are in this group together. Because we all had this kind of issue where we would do our own thing, and then we realized, oh wait, this isn't even part of like the actual project. So we'd have to like communicate again with each other and like really reorganize ourselves, especially in I'd say midway of our project. Because the beginning of the project, we were really organized. We're like, okay, we're going to do this, and then this, and then this, and then the middle of the way, we're like, oh, what do we do now?
Yeah.
And then in the end, we ended up getting our project done, and it was pretty successful. So.
See, I think we were kind of like not like that in a way, because we were just very kind of relaxed. We weren't like pressuring each other, because I think we just all knew we were gonna get it done, and so. Like for example, like we kind of worked in groups sometimes, so we're like, okay, like if we knew this person couldn't make it, because we basically understand that there's life events.
Yeah,
and
life happens.
Life happens. So we weren't gonna. So what we would do is like, oh, okay, we need to go here to get this done, but one person couldn't come or two people couldn't come. We would just take care of it, and then the next time that the two people that couldn't go or didn't go, they would just make it up by doing something else.
Sure.
So I think that was like the biggest thing, is kind of like just also like for me personally was kind of like just relaxing a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all adults, so trusting that as adults we were all gonna participate and get the job done. So that was another thing for me, is just like, okay, I'm not here to babysit anyone. Everyone's here as an adult, and everyone's gonna get their work done.
For sure.
Yeah. And I think towards the end of it, another thing that I really had to take account for was perception on how you actually are seen as communicating. So like when we first did our first panel discussion, when we got the remarks back, a lot of people said that I was really robotic on how I moderated, and I just think I didn't really even see how I was coming off. And I think that's something that you have to take account for, where it's like you might not want to portray a certain like image, but if that's what it's looking like, that's what it's going to be taken as. And I think by learning that and getting those peer reviews, it kind of like helped me adjust on how I would like be seen in front of the camera. So now I try to come off more casual and just more like, hello guys, how did you learn this, that? And then I think that was something really important to really learn.
What's funny about what you just said is that was actually one of the things that I was going to talk about, is like this class kind of taught you how to like, take criticism. Yeah. But like see it as positive, because it's not easy. Like for me, like it's always been kind of hard to be like, for someone to tell me like, oh, you kind of did this wrong, or I think you should do this, because I'm like, well, I think I did it the right way. But I think, overall, I think the class also taught me like sometimes it's actually good to hear it from someone else. Yeah. Because you're not seeing yourself. Like I'm not seeing myself. And so just looking at it as good advice, and not necessarily taking it as a negative.
And you got to understand, a lot of people aren't meaning it as like a bad thing. They're really just trying to say what they saw. And when I went back and watched it, I could see how I came off as just like really like cookie cutter or robotic. So that's just one thing that I really liked, that we got to get the peer reviews back.
Because it's not, I don't think it's not easy to give advice, because like that's one of the things that I kind of learned in the class, was like either receiving or giving it. So like when you're giving advice, is like so important that you come off kind of in the right way, because it's like, how are you communicating it, and how is the person going to receive it?
Yeah. To wrap up, is there one thing that you're going to take from this class and carry throughout your life that you've learned?
Listen better, honestly, because you're so used to thinking, oh, the next step to the conversation. You're not really actually focusing on what they're saying to you now. So I think that I'm going to definitely carry
active
that.
listening.
Yeah, the active listening.
Yeah, I think that happens to me a lot more often than not. Instead of me actually listening to what somebody's saying, I'm thinking of what I'm going to say back. And it's like, you're not listening when you're trying to do that. Yeah. And that's really something that needs to be.
For me, the biggest thing that I'm going to take out of this class is receiving the message, but also trying to like, if it's something that I'm not really understanding, is like repeating it back to the person. This is like, okay, this is what I'm getting. This is what I'm getting that you're saying. Is it correct? Because sometimes it's like you're getting, the person is saying something to you, but you're not actually understanding what the message is they're trying to, and that kind of can cause for you not to be receptive. You don't listen. You might take it the wrong way. So.
And I think for me personally, I think the one thing that I'm going to take is you have to communicate differently with different people, because we're all walking in with different backgrounds and different things, and if you just try to do one thing for everybody, you're gonna rub people the wrong way, and certain things are just not going to be received. So you have to adjust for those things. Thank you for coming with us and having this discussion on group communication. Hopefully we'll be back soon. Thank you.
If you are interested in a career in sports broadcasting, whether you're commentating a live game,
or hosting your own TV show,
or working behind the scenes, then this is the class for you.
For more information, contact Greg Poff, that's me, at solano.edu.
We hope to see you here next semester, and remember,
It's more than just sports, it's an education.